Okay guys, so today we're going to learn about generics in Java. So let's create a project in IntelliJ. We'll call it generics. Let's press create. Drag our code window over. Okay, so this kind of follows on from the video about objects, which was a while ago in this series. But if you haven't watched the other videos in this series yet, please do go watch them. We'll give you a lot of context for what we're going to do here. So let's just start by creating a new class, right? So go to source, right click, new Java class. I'm going to call this box, right? So we're going to create a class that represents a box right now. Obviously we have a box and that can store something, right? I might have a box of books. I might have a box of mugs. I might have a box of laptops, you know? I'm just listing everything that's in front of me right now. But yeah, that's the concept, right? So we have this object and we're going to make this a generic object. So this is going to be a generic object. Now, what is a generic object? Well, kind of says it in the name. It's a way to define a class and methods where the type of data that they operate on is specified, like when they're used. And we have used generics before in this series, but we just didn't know we were using them. So, for example, let's say, right, let's go back to main. Remember how we define a list, right? We go list, and then these weird greater than, less than symbols. And then we can go like string hello equals new array list. Right, we can do that. Now here we're actually using a class that has a generic. So you see where these sort of greater than, less than symbols are? Between them we have the word string. This list takes in a generic which is of type string, and then this is how we know this is talking about a list of strings, right? We can have a list of integers, right? We can go list integer hello1 equals new array list, right? And now this would represent a list of numbers. So we can basically have this class that takes in a type that we don't know, but then it uses that type later on. So if you're still not too sure what we're talking about, let's go into box and let's have a look. So think of it like having a mold that can be used to cast objects of different types. So for example, we could have a box of books, we could have a box of mugs, we could have a box of cactuses, right? Or cacti, shall I say. We can have a box of anything. You know, the box doesn't have to, you know, contain a certain type of item, right? But we could specify what that item is when we instantiate a box. So to create a generic, here's what we do. We go greater than, less than, up here, and then we go T, capital T. Now, in this instance, T stands for type. And we're going to have a field inside here, and we're going to call it T. So private, because we'll make our fields private, T, uppercase, and a space, T, lowercase. Now, this name of the variable can be whatever we want. In fact, I'm going to call it item. Right, so you can see that we've got this weird highlighting on the T here. Now, if we get rid of this bit up here, you see that this T now becomes invalid. So let's just Control Z, Command Z that for now. This T refers to the type that is passed in when we create this box. So if we go back to main, let's create a box of a certain type, a box that stores a certain type. So if we go box equals new box, like we would normally, that is currently not got any type. But now if we go like box, like we did with our lists, we can go like this, bam. We can go like string. We've now got a box that contains a string. So if we go and let's say generate setters and getters for this, right? Because this is just a normal class. Let's go right click, generate, setter and getter, select that, okay. And go back here. And then let's run the setter on this. So we'll go box.setItem, which is obviously still a normal variable. We have this set item here, this item here. And then we can set it as a string. So we can go like hello. And then if down here we go ahead and print box.getItem, and as we can see that returns a string, and we run it, then we should see hello, which is fairly normal things. But if we go ahead and change this type here, so we go, instead of string we go integer, just like we did with the list, you will see that we start getting errors. And if we hover over this error here, we can see that it wanted an integer for the item instead of the string. So now, obviously, we need to pass in an integer like 100, right? And now, all of a sudden, it's okay because what we store in this box, what's inside this field, depends on the type that we passed in. It's almost like a parameter, but for an object, right? A parameter for a type that we can now use as many times as we want in this object. Like we could have another item of type T. So we'll go item 1 is T, right? And now we have two fields that are whatever this unknown type is here. And that's why we call them generics, because it allows us to be generic with the type that we have. And we can store whatever type of data we want within the fields of this box. Now, you can see that we have this weird highlighting here. We can go like that just to fix it. Now, this is just a rule in Java. We don't really need to understand why. I mean, we can put integer here as well, but that's actually redundant because we've already specified it here. So we actually don't need that. So as you can see, it's very similar to when we create a list. So we go list of integers, right? List equals new array list, right? It's a very, very similar concept. So that is how we use generics in Java. Hopefully you guys understand that. There's plenty of use cases for these, as we will discuss later on in this series. If you liked this video, please do comment, please do subscribe. And also, if any of you are stuck, please comment down below. I'll happily answer that comment. See you guys in the next video. Bye.